In my Pacer First Impressions video, I look at the Wipeout wannabe to see what this futuristic racing game is all about, plus details of the release date. Forget Formula 1, in the future racing involves travelling at hundreds of miles per hour and dodging missiles. Well, if F-Zero, Wipeout and Quantum Redshift and yet another sci-fi anti-gravity racer called Pacer are accurate. Formerly Formula Fusion, that's a lot of Fs, Pacer began life as a Kickstarter project in 2014. Yes, 2014. It's the work of R8 Games, nothing to do with the Audi supercar, and has a 15th of October 2020 release date on PC, PS4 and Xbox One, unless there's another delay. As you can see, Pacer is inspired by the PlayStation classic Wipeout. In fact, the soundtrack features music from Cold Storage, aka Tim Wright, the man behind the score for the original Wipeout games. I've been playing a preview version of Pacer on PC since the 18th of August, so I thought I'd share what I think about it. Feel free to subscribe, like, and comment. There's quite a bit to do in Pacer. You can jump into the career mode, which involves you attempting to become the Pacer World Champion, or try out the various races, including 10-player online multiplayer of the ranked variety, time trial, and 6 other game modes. However, I decided to first customize my craft, of which there are 5 to choose from, and they all look cool. The aesthetics and weapons, which are a mixture of offensive and defensive, can be altered. Your ship also has a shield and armor. Deplete both, and it's bad news. To help you progress in what is a fast-paced racer, there are 4 speed classes. F3000 is entry level, where you learn the ropes. As the developer explained to me, weapons are more important because everyone is slower and easier to hit. F2000 is faster, but still accessible to newer players. F1000, meanwhile, is the point at which the choices you make in ship customization become more obvious and track knowledge becomes essential. Then there's Elite, which is where the pretenders are separated from the prepared. At this point, without going into the gameplay stuff just yet, you will need super fast reactions and patience to survive. For example, mines left behind by other players come at you more quickly than before, as do the barriers either side of the track. I promise you I wasn't drunk when testing this game, although it does look like it. In my preview version there are only 4 circuits, Aguila, Satterwald, Sunna Shahar and Uma 5. Each one is mirrored and can be played in the day or night. The full version will have 14 circuits, each playable in reverse as well, as in backwards. Plus there are usually multiple routes you can take. As previously stated, there are 5 types of anti-gravity craft to fly, or is that drive. The Vixen is the starter option and has high acceleration, which makes it more forgiving if you hit things, good for newbies or anyone with terrible coordination. Up next is the Sabre, which is the fastest to steer and nimble. But as with the gaming cliche, being lightweight means low health and low shields, plus it has the lowest top speed. So get used to avoiding damage. The Python, meanwhile, is the one to choose for maximum attack. It does more damage when you ram other opponents, has the highest health and shield amounts, and a good top speed. It is, however, slow to turn and accelerate, so piloting mistakes cost more time. And there's the Dragon, everyone loves dragons, which is the closest to the Sabre, except that it achieves its turning by the strongest air brakes and superior pitching, so a different driving approach is necessary. Rounding out Pacer's roster is the Vauxhall, This is the craft to choose if you want speed at the sacrifice of everything else, as it's the fastest. Fortunately though, it steers faster than the Python. Given the development time, Pacer should be good, and I'm pleased to say each craft has its own handling feel and is satisfying to get the hang of. They all drift around corners in a way that feels natural and predictable. Once you've spent a little time in Pacer, you start to get into a groove. It wasn't too long before I was carving up each circuit at a decent-ish speed. ish being the operative word, you can get away without the air brakes and pitching in the lower speed classes, which makes life easier. However, at F1000 and Elite level, they become essential, unless you like scraping along the barrier while the AI laughs at you. Speaking of which, your computer-controlled chums can stick to you like glue, but are never especially aggressive when it comes to combat. Compared with the original Wipeout and F-Zero games, Pacer makes the handling and visuals look dated. Even the more recent Ballistic NG pales in comparison. Yet they all share the same recipe of high-speed banked corners, jumps, and rollercoaster moments. Weapons aren't new either, however it's an area of Pacer that is less well thought out than the physics. A combination of shield strength and weak weapon damage means you are more likely to blow up from bad driving than missile damage. Basic is the best way to describe the combat system, not just the lock-on mechanic, which involves little effort, but also the visuals. In a game this pretty and intense, I wanted to see crazy weapons that vaporize everyone and fill the screen with psychedelic colors. But that's not the case. Weapons that temporarily reverse the controls or do more damage would add some much needed variety. As it stands, they hit, and it's a minor annoyance, nothing more. I also miss weather. Well, not British drizzle, that's just awful. But I fondly remember Quantum Redshift had rain that covered the camera and added some depth. By no means is this a deal breaker, but with the benefit of hindsight, R8 games could have been a little more creative. Fortunately, the full circuits in the preview are predominantly enjoyable, and the graphics at 4K on my BenQ monitor look fantastic. There's detail and personality on offer in each location that zips past at impressive speeds. No worries about frame rate drops with my GTX 1080 Ti, which would be an Nvidia 3080 if bots hadn't bought them all. It must be said, Pacer scores most highly when it comes to the sensation of speed and intensity. Honestly, I've been on more sedate roller coasters, and it can feel so slow when you return to a car-based racer. Which makes sense when speeds routinely surpass 1,000 kilometers an hour. Whatever kilometers are. However, I will say that some craft are less keen to perform at elite level, as no matter how early I turn and how much air brake I use, I still hit the barrier. Maybe I need some practice. Overall, Pacer feels polished, entertaining, and there's more depth to it than its spiritual predecessors in the form of craft customization, setting record lap times, and proving your worth against other players around the world. Is it the Wipeout replacement many people have been hoping for? Well, I'm not so sure, knowing that nostalgia is hard to beat, and there have been decent anti-gravity races since the iconic PlayStation series. But there's no disputing that Pacer looks and sounds the part, thanks to the decent 4K visuals and a unique soundtrack that takes you back to simpler times, when the skater look was peak cool, and everyone fancied Avril Lavigne. Priced right and with some tweaks to the gameplay, which the developer has promised, Pacer will be worth a punt if you like your races pacey and futuristic. Based on my admittedly limited preview, it's not 6 years of development good, but it is a competent tribute to the anti-gravity racer genre.